Despite new agents like Chingy Seth or even Caesar replacing some of the best supports in ZenlessZoneZero, there is one character who has remained strong throughout it all: Nicole. She has Defense Shred, the ability to apply her attribute anomaly quickly, provides element damage to her allies, and also provides a hefty amount of crit rate with her 6th Mindscape. Oh, did I forget the best part? Her entire kit revolves around a fast casting vacuum that gathers enemies together and is one of the best ways to clear multi-enemy stages quickly. Now, this is fantastic for anyone who enjoys playing Nicole, but there are a lot of things that players are missing about Nicole and how to play her. Let's get into it. Nicole performs well as a supportive buffer, debuffer with her EX special, and chain attack, allowing her to cast an energy field. This black hole / energy field has several properties to it, but most notably it lets her group enemies together and debuff the enemy at the same time. Maintaining these debuffs and providing utility is what Nicole's highest priority is, but it is worth mentioning that she can sometimes take up too much field time in order to perform her duties as a support. With some optimizations and features that her kit has, however, we'll see in a moment how to spend as little time on field as possible. To begin with, let's talk about Nicole's core passive. Nicole's core passive enhances her basic attack and dash attacks after doing the following: holding down the dodge key, performing a special or chain attack, or when using her ultimate skill. These allow her to perform a reload animation and fire upgraded bullets afterward. These bullets can be seen at the top left of her screen as a resource, and hitting enemies with these shots or landing an energy field on a target reduces their defense by 40% for 3.5 seconds. This is a major reason why she is so valuable as a damage buffer / debuffer. On a side note, it is worth mentioning that if you want to reload, you must wait for the end of the special, chain, or ultimate attack for Nicole to perform the reload animation. If you don't wait for this, or if not done properly, Nicole will actually just continue performing her actions without reloading at all. Now let's talk about her additional ability. Nicole's additional ability activates when she shares the same attribute or faction with another squad member. In this case, her core passive will also boost squad members' ether damage by 25% for 3 seconds. So just between her core passive and additional ability, Nicole already has 2 unique sources of damage increases that are high value. However, it is important to note that these debuffs are very short and therefore need precise timing to make them effective. Figuring out how to maximize these buffs, given the short duration, is what will take Nicole to the next level. But before we get into this, let's talk about the actual skills themselves. Let's start with Nicole's special attacks. Her non-energy consuming special attack is not worth talking about since it does very little, so let's move on to her EX special attack. This is one of her most important skills. When Nicole has enough energy, she casts a range attack that spawns an energy field that vacuums enemies to its center. Essentially, it's a grouping ability that moves enemies closer to each other. This ability can be used in 2 different ways. Tapping the special attack briefly shoots out the energy field, lasting 3.5 seconds. However, holding down the special attack keeps the field active longer while simultaneously increasing the casting time as a trade-off. Using this skill consistently is very important for 2 reasons. It's one of the best ways to interrupt and group enemies together, and it's also how Nicole provides damage increasing value to her team. Nicole has 2 types of basic attacks, but unfortunately both are actually rarely ever used. The first variation of her basic attack combo is simply 3 physical strikes, and the second is a set of enhanced attacks we mentioned in her core passive. Now, although some of the multipliers from the enhanced combo are decent, they simply take too long to perform. Furthermore, even if you wanted to use these attacks or the bullet resource that she has for the defense shred, there are far easier ways to do this. I do want to mention that these special enhanced bullets do run out after 8 total attacks, but using Nicole's basic attacks again is really not ideal at all. Nicole's dodge differs from other agents slightly. Aside from the reload mechanic built into Nicole's dodge skills, she also has 2 different dash attack variations. None of these are truly important or used much at all, but it is worth noting that her dodge counter will apply ether anomaly to enemies. Nicole's assists, similar to her dodges, are only different because they reload her bullets after performing them. Otherwise, they are a decent source of daze, but that's basically the same for any other defensive assist. Nicole's chain attack features a fast cast of her energy field with a quick assist and reload too. This is one of her best options for maintaining the defense shred and ether damage increase that she has in her kit, because it allows your damage dealers to swap onto field immediately and take advantage of the damage boosts. As with other supports, Nicole's ultimate is also not used very often since she is a support, and ultimates are currently reserved for damage dealers in extremely situational scenarios where the main damage dealers have low value ultimates. This is becoming less common though, with characters like Bernice, Jane, and Jiyuan having absolutely insane ultimates themselves, so just know that ultimates on supports will not be used as of now. Nicole's entire kit revolves around energy field, and therefore her chain attack and special attack take the highest priority when it comes to upgrades. After the these two skills, upgrading any order of her basic, assist, and dodge is perfectly acceptable. These upgrades, however, will primarily focus on the added days they provide, since Nicole, again, is just a support. Now, let's revisit the idea of maximizing Nicole's kit to the best of her ability. It's time for the combo breakdown. This is what I've received the most messages and questions about when it comes to Nicole, and it's understandable why. Nicole's kit seems simple at first, but plenty of players have described her utility and gameplay as feeling worse than others since her skills are shorter in duration, and therefore their damage dealers aren't able to make full use of their buffs as easily. To accommodate for this, I have two combos that I believe will help maximize Nicole's utility. The first is for fighting multiple enemies, and the second is for fighting bosses. Let's begin. The first combo is straightforward. Walk into an encounter with multiple enemies, basic attack with Nicole to generate enough energy for her EX special attack, then use the short version of her EX special attack to gather enemies quickly. Following this, Nicole should swap to another agent that can stun enemies and daze the clumped together mobs, and the combo ends with the second agent dazing the enemies and chain attacking to the team's main damage dealer. This combo has a bit of variance depending on who you choose to pair Nicole with, but the general idea is to interrupt and gather enemies together so another agent can finish them off either before or after a stun. Very simple, very practical, works extremely well in most Shiyu defense fights with multiple enemies. The second combo is a bit more complicated but has almost no variance whatsoever. This combo is performed with a traditional damage dealer plus stunner plus Nicole composition, and it also works best when the main DPS has their ultimate available. This combo begins with a stunner activating a chain attack onto a boss, swapping to another damage dealer, then ending with a chain attack on Nicole to cast an energy field and quick assist immediately after. The swapped in damage dealing agent will then cast their ultimate, use a few of their high damage abilities, then swap back to Nicole for her to recast her energy field via EX special attack. The damage dealer will then once again quick assist back onto field and perform the rest of their damage dealing combos. The main advantage from performing this in this exact order is that Nicole's energy field will be active for the most amount of time with the least amount of waste. Nicole's chain attack starting the combo allows the damage dealer's ultimate to benefit from the 40% defense shred, and following this are a few high damage hits. However, since the energy field from her chain attack only lasts a few seconds, this will need to be reapplied so that Nicole's allies can benefit from the debuffs. Therefore, swapping back to Nicole for a brief moment to cast an EX special attack is decent value so that other abilities will also receive the defense shred and ether damage bonus. This is by far one of the most complicated variations of a support's ideal combo, but this is mostly because of how short Nicole's energy field lasts. Before I break down one of the more misunderstood parts of Nicole's kit, I do want to preface that although there are a bunch of different variations and optimizations you can even make to what I just mentioned earlier, simply performing a chain attack and then using all of the main DPS's abilities after this will just work fine. But again, this is at the expense of some potential damage. On that note, you may have seen this trick for Nicole that involves her spinning around on her suitcase. There have been several different arguments for whether this is useful, helpful, harmful to Nicole players, so I decided to investigate and research this further. From what I've tested and timed, this adjustment to Nicole has three major advantages. The first is that she has a slightly longer energy field casted when she performs this, and the duration increases from 3.5 to roughly 4 or 4.25 seconds. The second advantage I found when testing this is that she has a longer period of casting her energy field from her suitcase, and this results in an increase in the total amount of anomaly built up created by hitting the enemy. The final benefit that I found deals similarly with the wind-up animation of her EX special, and it's the fact that she is invulnerable for even longer since this increases the duration of the animation. These all sound like solid benefits on paper, but when put into practice, there are a few concerns with this trick. Nicole gaining half a second or so of duration increase on her energy field is great, but since performing this takes a decent amount of time, this is not worth doing when the enemy is stunned. Additionally, although the EX special attack will apply more anomaly overall, the value of this is dependent on the enemy Nicole is fighting and how difficult it is to apply her attribute anomaly. For certain enemies, just a brief cast of her EX special can actually just be enough to fill up half if not more of the anomaly resource bar by itself. When then adding the EX special attack windup, this can sometimes overfill the resource bar entirely, and this makes it lose most of its value. Once again, this is very dependent on the encounter or enemy fought, but it is something you'll have to judge for yourself when performing it. In conclusion, although this trick does look cool, consider the following. The added time spent to perform this can be wasteful against enemies that are stunned, and this can also be a waste of time if you would otherwise overcap on anomaly buildup against an enemy. This also isn't even accounting for the decreased value the trick would have if your Nicole is low investment, or if you want to play the game casually, so do with this information what you will. At the end of the day, if you want to style on your enemies, feel free to do so. ZenlessZoneZero is a cool game. Nicole has two potential sets. The first is a general purpose set with Swing Jazz, and the second is Freedom Blues. Swing Jazz makes the most sense on Nicole for two two reasons. She appreciates the energy from the 2-piece set effect, and she also has a very short chain attack animation. Freedom Blues is another interesting option when paired with a character like Zhu Yuan. For Zhu Yuan specifically, applying Corruption quicker allows Zhu Yuan's best disk drive set, Chaotic Metal, to activate more regularly. Therefore, in some cases, Freedom Blues on Nicole when paired with Zhu Yuan can also perform decently as a way to activate this other set's passive quicker as well. For 2-piece set effects, Nicole works with any combination of Swing Jazz for team-wide damage, Chaotic Metal for ether damage, or Freedom Blues / Chaos Jazz for anomaly proficiency. This choice is not that important since most Nicoles are built with low investment and on a budget, so using any set available to her like Chaotic Metal or Swing Jazz if you're already farming for Zhu Yuan is the most practical option. My recommendations would be 4-piece Swing Jazz and 2-piece Freedom Blues though. Now let's talk about stats. Nicole's 4th slot disk drive is dedicated to anomaly proficiency since she applies attribute anomaly quickly. Her 5th slot is best as either attack percent, ether damage, or pen ratio, and her 6th slot performs best with anomaly mastery followed by attack percent and energy regen. These main stats do change in performance depending on the team she's paired with, but the actual value of these stats do not change dramatically. Therefore, as always, pick the disk drive that rolled best and continue on. And now here is a sample stat line for this build: 250 plus AP, 1500 plus attack, and 2.18 energy regen, and alongside 117 anomaly mastery. The most important aspect of this build is just having enough energy to cast her EX special attack and also being able to apply corruption quickly if she is paired with a chaotic metal Zhu Yuan, so anything outside of her energy regen and anomaly mastery is mostly optional and luxury. Nicole has a few options to choose from for her W engine. The Vault is amazing considering it's an A rank W engine that synergizes perfectly with her kit. The added damage percent against targets for her allies and the self increase to her energy regen makes this an amazing pickup for Nicole. She's also one of the only characters who can make this W engine work properly since the damage increasing effects are tied to dealing ether damage only. Weeping Cradle performs equally well if not better, but the main downside to this is its accessibility. I won't harp too much on this since accessibility doesn't have much to do with performance, so if you have it, consider using it on Nicole, especially if you don't have the Vault. They are really similar. Now, while Weeping Cradle and the Vault are the two clear best options for Nicole, you can also use Mark II on her for a fully free-to-play option since the energy regen from its base stats and the anomaly related increases from its passive are easily activated by her, while this W engine can also be purchased from the gadget store. Nicole's Mindscapes, like Lucy, are unfortunately very important for her performance. Earlier, I mentioned how Nicole applies attribute anomaly quickly and can also use a charging trick to increase the duration of her energy field. Well, these are actually only really relevant once her first Mindscape, Sugar Charged Bomb, is activated. This is just one of several impactful Mindscapes that Nicole has, and it's clear why. Increasing anomaly buildup and increasing the duration of her energy field when charging her EX special attack are the main reasons why her kit works so well with each other. However, without this Mindscape, Nicole is much more difficult to play effectively. Now, this by itself may not be the most game-breaking change for Nicole, but her 4th Mindscape increases the size of her energy field by 3 meters. These two Mindscapes together make Nicole way easier and way more comfortable to play, so it's kind of unfortunate that she needs Mindscapes to access these. That being said, she's free, so getting Mindscapes may not be nearly as hard, but that's not even where the Mindscape value ends. Nicole's 6th Mindscape provides allies with up to 15% crit rate assuming Nicole's energy field is cast against an enemy. When you combine all of these factors together, it's pretty clear that her Mindscapes add incredible value to her kit. Nicole is one of the best supports in the game because she is as versatile as other supports like Lucy and pretty much can be paired in any team she wants. I have a few sample teams here that can work with Nicole specifically, but seriously, you can pretty much use her at any time you want an added defense shred and enemy grouper. Zhu Yuan, Qingyi, and Nicole is by far Nicole's best team, and it's mostly because of her synergy with ether. At the moment, Nicole's ether damage increase is only worthwhile in a team with Zhu Yuan since, well, she's the only ether damage dealer, but this team also benefits from being able to interrupt and stun enemies effectively with Nicole's energy fields and Qingyi's dazing attacks. This results in the perfect team for Zhu Yuan to go wild and one-shot everything in sight. Qingyi can also be replaced in this team by Caesar depending on the encounter and your team setup too, but the main synergy that we're talking about here is Zhu Yuan and Nicole. Jane, Seth, Nicole is another team that I found to be the definition of I am lazy and really hate playing the game right now. Jane plus Seth already have insane synergy together with the anomaly build-up production and the anomaly buff that Seth gives to his ally, but adding Nicole to the mix does two great things for the team. First, it allows Jane to hit enemies that won't interrupt her with bullets or random swings back at her, and second, it gathers enemies together for a very satisfying one-shot burst from Jane's attacks. Billy, Ambi, Nicole works together as the supreme free-to-play team option. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Why is this guy even talking about Billy? Billy is so bad and does does way less damage than everyone else. And you know what, as a maxed Billy enjoyer who soloed the most recent Shiyu defenses with him, you're kind of right, but that doesn't mean this team lacks damage or can't clear content, because this team definitely has burst and can clear multiple waves faster than most other teams. Truthfully though guys, outside of the main Juyuan team that I mentioned earlier, there isn't really a perfect team to showcase Nicole's value. Rather, she is just an exceptional agent used to gather enemies together when they annoyingly fly away or attack too much, while also providing a decent amount of stat boosts to the team. Anyways guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something from my Nicole guide. If you did, make sure to check out the rest of my socials, leave a comment, turn on the notification bell, subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks again for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy everyone. I'll see you all next time. Good night.